Hi, girls. Welcome back. Today's episode is one that so many of you asked me to expand on after the previous podcast. And honestly, I understand why. Because today we're talking about something that is not just important. It is the most important decision you will make in your entire life. And I know that sounds dramatic, but stay with me. The title of today's episode is Choose Your Love, Don't Be Chosen. Because if there is one thing I want every girl in her 20s to understand, it's this. The biggest decision of your life is not your degree. It's not your job. It's not where you move. It's not your salary. It's not whether you become successful. It is the person you build your life with. Actually, I wouldn't even call it a decision. I'd call it a strategy. And nobody prepares us for that. Nobody teaches us how to choose a partner. Our families usually don't teach us either because many times they weren't taught themselves. They tell us things like, choose a good boy, be careful who you date, watch out. But nobody really explains how. Nobody tells us what we should actually be looking for. And girls, choosing a partner is strategy. Maybe the smartest strategy you will ever make. Because what do we grow up hearing? Oh my God, I saw him and I fell in love. And your friend goes, girl, he's so hot. He has amazing eyes. He's gorgeous. He's athletic. He's successful. He's perfect. And you're there like, I know, I think I'm in love. No. That is not love. That is attraction. And there is nothing wrong with attraction. You see a handsome guy? Fine. You see an athlete? Fine. You see someone charismatic? Fine. You like cyclists and you meet this amazing mountain biker and suddenly you think, this is my soulmate? Fine. But let's call things by their name. That is attraction, not love. Love is built. Love is construction. Love is architecture. And I want you to imagine love like building a building. Because before you build a building, what do? You don't just start throwing bricks. First, you choose the land. Then you study the ground. Then the foundation. Then the structure. Then the construction. That is love. That is partnership. And the mistake many of us make in our 20s is that we start building before checking the land. Imagine this. You meet someone. You're attracted. Chemistry is amazing. You start dating immediately. You move fast. You move in. You buy a dog. Maybe later there are kids. Life starts. The building is rising. Everything looks beautiful. But then one day, cracks. And suddenly you realize, wait, the foundation wasn't strong, or worse. The ground itself was wrong because maybe the person never shared your values. Maybe they wanted a completely different life. Maybe they didn't respect you. Maybe they admired you but didn't actually love you. Maybe they chose you for what you represented. Maybe you chose them because they looked good. And now, you built a skyscraper on a swamp. Girls, a building can collapse and be rebuilt. Life cannot. You only get one, and that's why I take this so seriously. Because choosing the wrong partner isn't like buying jeans in the wrong size. You return them, done. Choosing the wrong partner can become emotional trauma. Because relationships don't stay superficial. They become homes, routines, families, dreams, children, years, identity. And when they break, it's not only heartbreak. Sometimes it becomes trauma. So the first thing I want you to understand today is choosing a partner requires strategy. Now you may be thinking, okay, but how am I supposed to strategize someone? Like what? Do I stop him in the street and say, hi, excuse me, before dating you, I'd like to conduct a psychological and emotional evaluation? No, of course not. You use intuition, but informed intuition. And this is important because girls are often told, just follow your heart. No, follow your heart with your eyes open. Because getting to know someone takes time, and I think older generations had something right. They called it courtship. We call it talking stage. They called it getting to know someone. We call it situationship. And maybe we should bring back some slowness. Because now, we rush. We rush everything. You meet someone on Friday. You kiss on Saturday. Exclusive by next month. Moving in after 6 months. Dog after 1 year. Baby after 2. And then one day, I realized he wasn't the love of my life. But girls, by the time you realize that, the building is already built. And that realization suddenly contains years, memories, pain, shared lives. So maybe the question isn't, do I like him? Maybe the question is, can I build with him? Very different question. Can I build with him? Can I trust him? Can I grow beside him? Do we see life similarly? Do our values match? How does he behave under pressure? How does he treat people? Does he admire me? Does he respect women? Can he communicate? Can he apologize? Does he have emotional maturity? What kind of father would he become? What kind of partner would he become when life gets ugly? Because girls, everybody is amazing at brunch. Everybody looks romantic in sunsets. I want to know who someone becomes during difficulty. That is the test. And let me say something maybe controversial. Chemistry is overrated. I know, you're all screaming. But listen, chemistry creates beginnings. Compatibility creates futures. Chemistry makes your heart race. Compatibility builds peace. Chemistry says, oh my God. Compatibility says, I feel safe. And safety is underrated in your 20s. We think love should feel like chaos. Butterflies, anxiety, obsessing, waiting for texts, overthinking. No, sometimes that isn't love. Sometimes that is nervous system activation. Love should not constantly feel like survival. And another thing, can we please stop acting like being single in your 20s is a failure? Because somewhere around 20, everybody starts panicking. 21, 22, 23, people start acting like life is ending. I don't have a boyfriend. I'm behind. Everyone else found someone. Girls, relax. The world is full of men. At every age, you are not running out. You are not expired. You are not late. You do not need to grab the first emotionally available man crossing your path because you're scared. Fear is not a reason to choose. Loneliness is not a strategy. Panic is not love. And so many women settle because they're afraid of being alone. Meanwhile, I'm afraid of being with the wrong person. Because solitude can heal. The wrong partner can destroy. Let's talk about two enemies when choosing a partner. Enemy number one, urgency, the rush, the need, the timeline panic. I need someone now. No, you need discernment. Because urgency makes average compatibility look like destiny. And suddenly the first guy who gives attention becomes the one. No, he's just there. That's different. Being available doesn't equal being right. And urgency makes us lower standards. Ignore red flags. Romanticize inconsistency. Girls, slow down. Enemy number two, greed. And by greed, I don't only mean money, I mean being dazzled. Status, cars, followers, image, lifestyle, social proof. Sometimes women choose men because of what the man represents. He's successful. He has money. He has status. He looks powerful. Okay, but does he respect you? Can he love you? Can he build with you? Because status without character is decoration. And the opposite is also true. Maybe someone chooses you for your success, your image, your social value. That's not love either. Love cannot be transactional. And now I want to talk about what love actually is. Because if attraction isn't love, then what is? Love is built experiences. Love is shared life. Love is choosing. Again and again, love is understanding, compromise, kindness, presence. Love is not found, love is created. And I know movies ruined us because movies end when people get together. Real love starts after that, after attraction, after excitement, after fantasy. Love begins when reality enters, when someone is sick, when stress arrives, when money is difficult, when dreams change, when life gets messy. That is where love appears. And there's one word nobody likes hearing. Compromise. Everybody wants love. Nobody wants sacrifice. But love requires giving, not losing yourself, giving, sharing, meeting halfway, learning another universe. Because partnership means sometimes your needs, sometimes mine, always us. And I think one reason relationships fail now is because we enter asking, what can I get? Instead of, what can we build? Different energy. Girls in their 20s are navigating something hard. We're becoming women, building careers, finding identity, healing childhood wounds, learning confidence. And at the same time, society says, also find love, no pressure. And because of that, many women choose before knowing themselves. And this matters, because if you don't know yourself, how can you know who fits you? So before asking, who do I want? Ask, who am I becoming? Because your partner should fit your future self. Not your loneliness. And please hear me when I say this, a relationship should not save you. It should accompany you. You don't need someone to complete you. You need someone who respects what already exists. You are already whole. Partnership adds. It doesn't complete. And let me tell you something beautiful. You are allowed to choose. I think many women still unconsciously wait to be chosen, chosen by the man, chosen by love, chosen by life. No, choose, observe, decide, evaluate, trust yourself. Because choosing is power. And sometimes women hand over all power. Does he like me? Wrong question. Do you like him? Will he choose me? Wrong question. Would you choose him? What if he leaves? Question. If he stayed forever, would that life make you happy? Turn the focus back, because the truth is, the right relationship doesn't only change your love life, it changes your entire life, your peace, your children, your emotional health, your future, everything. And the wrong relationship, same thing, just in the opposite direction. That's why this matters. This isn't romantic advice. This is life strategy. So if I could leave you with one message today, it would be this. Do not let fear choose. Do not let loneliness choose. Do not let attraction choose. Do not let status choose. Do not let urgency choose. You choose. Slowly, consciously, strategically, and with love. Because one day you may build an entire life with someone. Choose the land before building the house. And remember this. You do not need to be selected. You are not standing on a shelf waiting. You are not an option waiting for approval. You are the chooser too. Actually, be the chooser first. Choose your partner. Don't let yourself be chosen. Now, girls, I want to go deeper into this idea. Why is it so important that you choose your partner instead of simply letting someone choose you? Because this concept is huge. It is about asking yourself, do I want to design my own life strategy, or do I want to become part of someone else's strategy? Because when someone chooses you and you simply enter their plan without thinking deeply, without observing, without deciding consciously, you are no longer fully holding the reins of your own life. You are being included in a path that someone else may have already designed. And the problem is, you don't always know what that path is. You don't know if his idea of life matches yours. You don't know if his values are aligned with yours. You don't know if he has chosen you for the right reasons. Maybe he chose you because you are beautiful. Maybe because you are convenient. Maybe because you are kind. Maybe because you admire him. Maybe because you fit into the life he wants. But girls, do you want that life? That is the question. Because it is very difficult for someone to choose you and by pure coincidence, for everything to align perfectly. Your values, his values, your emotional needs, his emotional maturity, your idea of family, his idea of family, your dreams, his dreams, your rhythm, his rhythm, your future, his future. That level of coincidence does not usually happen by accident. That is why you need to participate. You need to observe. You need to choose. And this is also about freedom. Today, society does not force most of us to marry a specific person. Nobody is standing there saying, this is the man you must build your life with. So if society is giving you the right to choose, use that right. Don't waste it. Because if I have the freedom to choose who walks beside me in life, then of course I prefer to be the one choosing consciously instead of waiting for someone to decide that I am good enough for them. Because girls, let's be honest, many of us have been raised directly or indirectly to want to be chosen, to be liked, to be desired, to be picked, to be the girlfriend, to be the wife, to be the one. But very few of us are taught to ask, but would I choose him? Not does he like me, not did he text me, not did he ask me out, not does he want something serious. No. Would I choose him? Would I choose his character? Would I choose his lifestyle? Would I choose his emotional world? Would I choose the way he solves problems? Would I choose the way he treats women? Would I choose the way he speaks when he is angry? Would I choose the father he could become? Would I choose the life that comes with him? That is the real question. And this is why I told you before, do not rush. Because rushing is desperation dressed as romance. That panic of, oh my God, what if I never find a boyfriend? What if I'm already behind? What if everyone has someone and I don't? Girls, please relax. You are not running out of men. The world is full of men, full, more than enough, at every age, in every city, in every stage of life. So why would you act as if the only option is the guy who happens to be in your immediate environment? Your classmate, your coworker, your friend's friend, the guy from your gym, the guy from that one party, the guy you met on a random night out? I'm not saying love cannot come from there. Of course it can. But what I am saying is, do not limit your entire life strategy to coincidence. Because if you ask many couples, how did you end up together? A lot of people will say, oh, by chance. We met on a trip. He was in my class. We trained together. We went out with the same group. We started talking. And that is beautiful sometimes. But girls, chance is not enough. Coincidence is not a strategy. Proximity is not compatibility. Just because someone is near you does not mean they are right for you. Give life space, give yourself time, meet people, make friends, observe, open your world. Don't choose from fear. Don't choose from scarcity. Don't choose because he was simply there at the right moment. Because what you rush now, you may pay for later. And sometimes the delay is not small. Sometimes choosing badly doesn't delay you for a month. It delays your whole life. Emotionally, mentally, financially, even spiritually. How many women do we know who rushed into one relationship, left it hurt, rushed into another one, then another, and every time they say, this one will be different. But they never stop to ask, why am I choosing like this? And girls, that is not adding experiences. That can become emotional subtraction. It takes from your pace, it takes from your stability, it takes from your confidence, it takes from your ability to trust. So no, not every relationship adds. Some relationships drain, some destabilize, some leave you less connected to yourself than before. That is why strategy matters. Now, when I say compatibility, I don't mean you and your partner have to be the same person. No, you don't have to share everything. You don't have to have the same career, the same hobbies, the same personality, the same goals in every single area. For example, maybe you are a businesswoman. Maybe you are ambitious. Maybe you have professional dreams. That does not mean your partner also has to be a business owner or have the exact same project. But when you come home tired, overwhelmed, stressed, or emotionally full from your day, does he understand you? Does he support you? Does he hold you emotionally? Does he encourage you? Does he respect your ambition? Does he make your life feel lighter, not heavier? That is connection. That is partnership. That is love. Compatibility is not being identical. Compatibility is being aligned where it matters. Values, respect, emotional support, life direction, family vision, communication, loyalty, kindness, that is what matters. And of course, girls, we will never have 100% certainty. Nobody can guarantee you this person will be perfect forever. That doesn't exist. But that is exactly why time matters. Time gives information. Time reveals character. Time removes masks. Time shows patterns. And this brings me to another very important point. At the beginning of almost every relationship, everything is pink, everything is beautiful, everything is soft, everything is romantic. He understands everything. You forgive everything. You both laugh, you both dream. You think, oh my God, I found him. This is what I call the pink phase. And girls, be careful with the pink phase. Because the pink phase is lovely, yes, but it is not always reality. Sometimes it lasts months, sometimes even years. And while you are inside that pink bubble, you may think you already know someone, but maybe you don't. Maybe you only know their best version, their romantic version, their seduction version, their beginning version, but not their real version. Because real personality appears with time. It appears when things don't go their way. It appears when there is stress. It appears when there is conflict. It appears when you say no. It appears when life is not convenient. So don't rush to say, I know him. Maybe you know the pink version, but not the full person yet. Let time speak. Let situations speak. Let consistency speak. And above all, do not confuse the beginning of a relationship with the truth of a relationship. Because beginnings can be magical, but life is not built only with magic. Life is built with character. Girls, thank you for being here today. And please leave your thoughts because I genuinely think conversations like this help all of us. I'd love to know what changed the way you see love in your 20s. And if this episode resonated with you, send it to another girl who needs to hear it. Love you all, and I'll see you in the next episode. Kisses, girls.